What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. We've got a killer one for you today. The Junior Grandmaster is in the co-pilot seat where he so belongs. We've got the Gene Volpe is here as well. He's barely paying attention like usual, but we'll drag him into the show at some point. And then Connie Myers is here. We're going to talk about how we can deal with black swan events, the power of preparedness, and how agents can actually be a force for good in our communities in times of crisis. So obviously we should have had Connie on the show, let's say a year and 6 months ago, roundabouts, thereabouts, but better late than never, I guess. We're going to talk about maybe how to prepare for the next one. And who knows, maybe we'll have some new fun crises emerge that we all have to be prepared for, but it definitely has driven the point home, I think. The run on toilet paper was a big eye opener for the rest of us that we did not prepare very well in the cities for things to go wrong. So we got a bunch of fun stuff to talk about. We'll also talk about a little bit about Connie's new book, maybe about her work with the California Association of Realtors, and we've got a whole bunch of fun stuff to get into. So with that being said, before we bring Connie in, before we bring Gene in, my friend, going on something like, I think we figured out almost 6 years of doing this crazy thing together. 1.7 million downloads and counting. Greg McDaniel, what's up today?
What up, home cheesers? You look handsome as always. I mean, are you in for another tattoo anytime soon? Because I do know that Adam Levine, aka Matt Johnson, loves his tattoos, and so we can't wait to see his next tat. In all honesty, though, all jokes aside, Matt shaking his head, going, "Why are you such a ridiculous weirdo?" But we're gonna have a lot of fun today. I've done work with Connie in the past with Bernice Ross for Inman and some other publications, and so we're looking forward to kind of getting some good time with her. Gene, how do you get your beard to look so good? Seriously,
it's a lot of beard butter. I take care of this thing, man. I really do. Look, I want to say something, Matt. Shots fired from Matt. So I was paying attention. I'm glad to be here with Toby Flyer. I'm glad I'm here with Mike Jackson and Jim McDaniel. Like I always do, I don't listen in the beginning of the show, but I'm here now full boat. So I'm excited. To be here.
Great. I'm glad to have you. Oh my gosh. All right. And looking at your handle down there, as I always do, it just looks like the Genvelope. So that's my insult in kind to you. Not Genvelope, the Genvelope. Okay. With that being said, we've screwed around enough as it is. Let's bring Connie in. First of all, Connie, how are you today?
I am fantastic.
Well, so are we. We're thrilled to have you.
I was gonna say Connie's gonna bring the hammer down on us, guys. I mean, we're talking about preparedness. I think it's something that is going to be. Any guys who can't see what she just did, she did the hammer move, like she's going to drop hammer on us, which is amazing. But I mean, some of the stuff that she and I have talked about in the past is we all think we're prepared, but we're really not, and that could be emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically. With your house, with your business. There's a lot of stuff that we just kind of fly by the seat of our pants, and we're like, I'm cool. But at the exact same time, we're not. So Connie, welcome to the show, and let's get into the weeds.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. This is really a lot of fun.
It will be. We'll get over Greg part. The rest of it will be fun. Okay, so first of all, let's start with this. Connie, give us kind of a 1-minute overview, who you are, where you are, and what you do, so our audience gets a little bit familiar with where you're coming from.
Okay, well, let me just suffice to say that since I was in my mid-20s and I'm 72 now, I thought that I was like a cat with 9 lives, that everything that I had done was something different, was a different kind of career. In reality, I was in training for exactly what I'm doing today. I helped 2 companies go from the local market to the national stage. One was a real estate education platform. The other was the largest home inspection network when we sold it back in the early 90s. We were one of the first. I have 5 best-selling books, all of them on leadership, and one called Crystalline Moments, which I talk a lot about when I'm talking about disasters and crisis. Mm-hmm. And I spent time as a FEMA inspector and trainer for 7 years, as well as I was in the insurance industry. I had my own insurance agency for a number of years. So I have the perfect background to be talking about just disasters.
Yeah, we really should have talked to you a year and a half ago, or slightly before, and maybe we would have learned some lessons we could have then used. So I'm curious, what was your experience kind of going through? Take us back maybe into February and March when you started to hear rumblings that something might be afoot. What kicked in for you?
Well, I have to tell you that the California Association of Realtors it was in June of 2019, sent out an email saying, that these were topics they were looking for the education. And one of them was on disasters. And I had always wanted to write a consumer book, helping to inform people what they really needed to know when it came to disasters. And I wrote back, I said, nobody gets that but me. So I did a training at their big expo in October. And I also led a panel with about 250 people attending that were professional development education people. And I realized at that point in time that the 3-hour course I had written was not enough. I needed to be much more. So in January, I was starting to write the 4 courses. And what I can tell you is every single day as we were moving into COVID and we're moving into lockdown, I was like, okay, this is just too weird that I'm writing about this and I'm talking about this. And I'm sitting there. I'm actually at a friend's house, quarantined with her. And I'm sitting on her sofa writing. And every single day I was just more, when the toilet paper all started happening and all of that, I was just like, man, I should have wrote this a year ago. I should have put something out sooner, because so I think that was the biggest thing is as I'm writing faster and faster and faster, because I'm like, oh, we need to get this stuff out and help people be better prepared. And especially mentally. I mean, let's face it, the run on toilet paper wasn't about toilet paper. It was about fear. It was about what they were feeling. And so I think the biggest thing was just observing and sitting back and watching how people were reacting to what was happening. And they didn't think it was going to happen as long as it has. So I think that was the biggest thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. And let's talk a little bit about, just before we get into the nuts and bolts, how can agents use what we're about to talk about, right? All the nuts and bolts things that we're going to talk about. How can agents use that to actually be a force for good in their communities, with their clients, with their sphere of influence? Just kind of give us the big picture of how agents can kind of use this information.
Well, I think that one of the most important things, so my vision for my certification is to help 30 million people be better prepared. And when you think about what a real estate agent does, they're out there talking to their community. They're out there. Most agents are involved in their community in one way or another. And they are looking for ways to stand out. And this is such a beautiful, Bob McKinnon, who's the Exit Realty leadership director, and he was one of the original founders of Century 21. When he interviewed me, his basic words were, this was a magnificent fit for real estate agents. Because think about it, if you are out there and you are making a difference and you're doing things in your community and you're truly making a difference, you're saving lives, you're saving property, you're saving money, when it comes time for your services, who are they going to call? They are going to call you. And the people that have become CCAM advisors are all standing out in their community and truly making a difference, and their businesses are thriving because of it. But you have to do it in an authentic way. You can't just say, okay, I'm going to make more money doing this. That's not the answer. The answer is to truly be giving back and to truly make a difference. And then you're going to be recognized for it.
Interesting. Have you noticed any commonalities in, I don't know, maybe the personality types of the people that have had that certification, and it really meshed with their personality really well?
Oh, completely. And what's interesting, I thought they were all going to be primarily real estate agents. They all have their real estate license, but typically they have other businesses they do as well, like they're in the insurance business or they're in commercial real estate rather than just regular real estate. Some of them are attorneys. I have one who's the state education director for Texas. So they're all people that really are concerned about what's going on in our world today. And they all want to do something about it. But isn't that, I mean, most of your really quality real estate agents, that's exactly what they do. They find something in their community or some cause that they can represent. And so it's people that are looking for causes, and they really have a big desire to make a difference. The training I did yesterday, every single person expressed to me afterwards how much they loved the training because it was going to help them in what they could do for their community.
Right. All right. Got it. So that helps a lot, because I think that gives people in the audience an opportunity to go, oh yeah, that's me. Right. If you're the person that's just churn and burn, call them up, list them, get them off the books and moving on to the next one, maybe not your thing. I don't feel like that's a lot of people listen to our show, but you know what I mean? but yeah, if you're the kind of person that pays attention, that is drawn
I really
towards
think vast majority of agents do.
The vast majority of agents who
Completely.
Yeah. I would tend to agree with that. I mean, a lot of people are drawn into the industry,
Oh, I'm losing you.
not just for the sales potential and things like that, but for the opportunity to help people. That's where they get their satisfaction, fulfillment from, is the fact that what they're doing helps people. And yeah, I think everybody's looking for a way to stand out. And so I want to talk about that. That's absolutely something you can use, maybe whether it's in the form of a certification or it's just the way that you are with your clients, like that will stand out. I mean, Jay Abraham, I've always loved his approach, because he said years and years ago, just you never call the people that buy from you customers, you call them clients, because they're someone that's under the care and protection of another. So I was gravitated towards that relationship to the people that pay you. And this is like taking that up to another level. So let's dig into some of the nuts and bolts a little bit.
Yes.
So what are some of the things, maybe just one or two of the bullet points that immediately come to mind for you in terms of how can we be more prepared, maybe what it means to be prepared for a crisis?
Oh.
Did we lose? Oh, I think
we lost her. We lost her. That was
right.
Gene, so
what
Greg,
about
first
you,
of
man?
all, I've been monopolizing it a little bit. Yeah. So while we wait for Connie to jump back in, what's your guys' thoughts so far?
Greg, you want to jump on that?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, it comes down to food preparedness, it comes down to money preparedness, it comes down to water preparedness, it comes down to evacuation plans in regards to kind of where and what you're going to do if something does take place. Funny thing is, my girlfriend and I, we all, when she was living with me in my condo, which by the way I'm going to be selling, unfortunately, but we laughed about the fact, like, oh my God, what if a fire breaks out? And so I walked her through the fire, protocols in the building, and I never thought it would happen, but dude, 3 o'clock in the morning, freaking fire alarms go off, and I walk out into my hallway and there is smoke everywhere. And I'm like, holy sheep shit. Like, this is a real thing going on right now. And so we walk in, and she and I always talked about it. When she would grab the documents, I would grab the cash and the cat, put the cat and the cash in the backpack. She'd grab the docs, and we would bounce. And we really had to, thank God we had that, that plan in play, because some ding dong decided to light a pizza box on fire in the dumpster and set the whole dumpster on fire. And then the smoke went up in the entire building. And so when it comes back to what Connie's talking about, I mean, life's going to serve you some weird stuff. So how are you going to be able to be on point when that happens? Because you're never going to see it coming. It's going to hit you blindsided, and you better be ready to rock and roll. I mean, for everybody who knows, I live in San Francisco at this point. I have a .40 caliber handgun sitting next to my bed because there are break-ins and there are robberies. There are all kinds of crazy stuff that happens. Dude, if someone comes to this house, I have a flashlight and a .40 caliber handgun. You're going to leave with extra holes if you come into my house. So that is my version of being protected and being on point. Matt's laughing. Gene's going like, yeah, me too. All right. Connie's going like, that's my man.
There's just so many comments I could make in response to that. But all right, let's, so Connie, you're back. Your Wi-Fi is reconnected. We were filling time while you were reconnecting, and Greg, of course, has to share everyone. He has a gun next to his bed, which is fantastic.
Matt, we're losing you.
There we go.
Oh gosh, Matt. Oh, there he is. He's back. Oh, thank God you're back, Matt.
I actually like when he does that, because it's sort of like Russian roulette. You never know where he's going to show back up when you let him back in the show. It's like a mix and match thing. I want to say something. Real quick, and I'm hoping maybe this will lead Connie into a thought process. So first off, I want to say, when we first jumped into the show and Connie started talking about disaster, I thought we were going back on Greg's life. And I was like, what timely fashion? He is a disaster. We can fix this. But now that I see where we're actually going, sorry, Greg, I didn't do that. But now I see where we're actually going. It makes me think, right? Like, we talked about this a couple of times during the pandemic. I feel like there is with preparation comes calm. And when you're calm, you're able to handle crisis and other things a little bit better. And calm comes from preparing and being repetitious about it. So like, I was thinking about my daughter. I got a 16-year-old. We're driving, and she goes, I like driving with you so much better because mom freaks out and you don't. And I go, how do you think you're going to react better, when I'm screaming at you, hit the brakes, or I'm calmly letting you know that you got to slow down before we hit the back of this dump truck, right? And she's like, no, I feel better when you're not screaming at me. And I'm like, that's sort of how it works in life, right? If we're calm, we see things clearer. If we see things clearer, we're more prepared. If we're more prepared, we're able to get out of these the situations that we're in. And I felt like a year and 6 months ago, we got into this whole pandemic, and I think a majority of the people were not calm. They were freaking out, and that skewed everything from business to their home life to their health. And I think that's why a lot of people are where they're at today. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Oh, it's absolutely true. So it's really all about it. First responders, victims that have gone through some type of a disaster or crisis will tell you that it's all about the mindset. It's all about, you need to have a resilient mindset. And you need to be able to find a way to bring calmness to you so before you move on. There's an acronym called STOP. And it's used by first responders. You can use it in your life in general. And STOP stands for, first of all, stop. Don't proceed. Don't do anything. Let your mind go blank. And T is take some breaths. Take 2 or 3 deep breaths so that you come back to the present moment. And then observe what's going on around you. Observe what's going on inside first, and then what is going on around you. And then proceed with a plan, whatever that plan is. And what that does is that keeps you from going into fear. A really good example of that is when I was doing the panel, one of the gentlemen on the panel was the head of the CERT program for the LA County. He's been the fire chief for like 20 plus years. And he was telling me about the fires when they were coming through San Fernando Valley and they were headed into his neighborhood. Now, here's a man that has been trained to know how to respond and knows how to stay calm. But he said when he realized it was headed to his house, he had a hard time. So it's really all about staying as calm as you possibly can.
Mm-hmm. Connie, can you go over that really quickly? I was taking notes, and I didn't get the S and the T. I got the observe and plan, but what's the S and the T?
The S is stop. Just stop what you're doing. Go get as calm as you can. T is take 3 breaths, deep breaths. I always say do the triangle. Breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, and breathe out for 4 seconds. Do that 3 or 4 times. Then observe what's going on inside of you and what's going on around you. And then proceed with the plan that you've already done in your preparation. And that will help you to stay calm.
I love that. Matt, I want you to take notes. This is how you and I are going to communicate better. I want you to do the stop method. I want you to stop, take 3 breaths, observe, and then we're going to come up with a plan for how we're going to continue our relationship, okay? Gene already does this with me, but we still need to get you on board.
I was thinking that I was going to make a crack about this is every time you call me, I'm going to have to stop what I'm doing, take 3 deep breaths, observe where I'm at, and then prepare myself to take that call.
And the next question is going to be, Matt, every time I call you, I go to voicemail. Yeah, because that's how long it takes to get to the inner zen.
So I didn't say it wasn't intentional. Come on now. I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm timing those breaths for how long it takes to go to voicemail.
The thing I love about this, Connie, is that, I mean, the STOP plan, the stop, it can be used in every part of life. It could be if someone cuts you off in traffic. It could be a business deal that goes sideways. Like, I need to, literally, not a joke, as of this recording right now, I'm going to use this because I am having a massive problem with 2 people that I really love, not Matt or Gene, in my life. And this, life is going to shift in a massive way. Matt, stop grinning. This is not a joke. This is fucking serious. And I have to really take this.
Grinning about the fact that you were disqualifying it wasn't me or Gene. I know who the 2 people you're talking about. I'm not laughing about that.
Oh, who are they? Who are they?
Well, I'm not going to say it on the air. Come on now. I'll call you afterwards.
I love the plan because, Connie, I did do that. I went and I stopped, took a couple of breaths, and I was losing my marbles before this show. And you know what? I'm going to sit there and I'm going to observe kind of what the future is going to look like, and then I'm just going to make a plan of how it's going to play out. It doesn't matter. And so I think that is something that is so powerful because us as humans, we get emotional, right? And then we get reactionary. Once we get reactionary, then we lose our conscious behavioral opportunities. And we just go like, well, F you, right? When in reality, it could be like, okay, I dislike you at this moment. Can we work through this? We're going to have a conversation or just something along those lines. I mean, when it comes to the stop, how'd you come up with that? Is that something you put into your business, and how has that been beneficial for you?
That actually is an acronym that the first responders use all the time.
Oh,
I got it from them. And And I tell you what, after I heard it, I'm like you, Greg. I started using it in every aspect of my life. And I'm a firm believer that, so I've been teaching visioning and knowing your purpose and all of that for almost 10 years. And I think that the STOP acronym is actually something extremely powerful that helps us to create that vision. So when you proceed with that plan, what does that plan look like? So if it's some kind of a disaster plan, you've already got the plan. Depending on the type of disaster, it is what you're going to do. But let's take a look at how it is. If you have, say, you have somebody that you're having to need to have a conversation with. If you can see what the outcome of that is, and then put that into the vision. I always tell people take 1 or 2 minutes before a heavy phone call you're going to make or a face-to-face conversation that you're going to have. Take 1 or 2 minutes, take some deep breaths, and do the stop and figure out what the outcome is that you want out of that conversation. And then create a quick affirmation. You just say out loud, I'm so happy and grateful that, and this is whatever the outcome is you want it to be. And it really will help you to make a difference in conversations and how things happen.
You said something there. You glazed over it so quickly, Connie, but it's to be grateful for what's going to take place. And I think people are so fearful of what's going to take place that they don't see the positivity. So what I'm going to be going through in the next couple of months, I'm petrified as of this recording of what's going to be changing in my life. Now I'm not going to die, or, no health issues, nothing like that. Even though Matt would like that to take place, but it is something that's going to shift my life dramatically. And so just with this conversation, and I needed to hear that today. So I'm very grateful for you to be here. And I'm going to sit there and I'm going to visualize what I'm grateful for in this shift, because we're all shifting right now. And here in San Francisco, you can't go into restaurants or bars or gyms or anything else with a vaccine passport, which I'm not going to get on my soapbox about that. But I mean, it's a shift. It's something happens to you. So Tony Robbins always says, life happens for you, not to you. Is that something that you believe?
Absolutely. I think what I tell everybody is you need to have 3 things you're grateful for every single day, in the morning and at night. Find 3 things and then 3 successes that you experience. And maybe you don't want to, successes come because of little successes. They don't come all of a sudden something big happens. It happens because we start, and maybe success is just getting out. Maybe something's happening you anymore. And just by and getting ahead could be the step to start.
Hey, Connie, we're losing you a little bit. Can you go back and say that again? It looks like we have an internet connection issue. Can you say that again? Because it's really important content.
Okay. So I tell everybody what you need to do is every day you have things in the morning that you're grateful for. And then you have things in the evening that you're grateful for the day. And then you celebrate successes. You celebrate the successes that you've had. And they're little successes. They're not big successes. They're little successes. Like maybe it's just as simple as getting out of bed in the morning. So creating those little successes and celebrating those. So like when you're going through something, Greg, whatever it is you're going through, whenever there's something that goes the way you think it's supposed to go, celebrate that. Even if it's just something teeny tiny, you celebrate that, then all of a sudden it actually changes the chemistry of the brain to where the brain is now looking for something positive. And that will help you. And doing the same thing to be grateful is the same response. Being grateful makes a big difference in how things are going to play out for you. I hope that helps.
Darren Hardy, the old editor of Success Mag, he did in one of his books, he talked about one of his buddies. They were at a party and they were talking about how they were basically doing a beer run, right, to get more beer for the party. And his buddy looks at him and goes, "Hey, man, I think I'm getting a divorce." And Darren goes, "Huh?" And so they have a conversation. He says, "Before you do that, do this." And it goes right along with what you're saying, Connie. He said, "Look, for the next 365 days, I want you to go out. I want you to write one thing down that you appreciate about your wife every single day, and date it and time it." It could be how she did her hair, her perfume, her makeup, the dog, the cat, the goldfish, painting, washing Matt's car with rocks. It could be whatever it's going to be. But I mean, in 365 days, you're going to be able to give that book to that person and change their lives. But what it's going to do in the meantime, it's going to change your mindset, like you were talking about how you see things on a daily basis.
Think about anything that you might be fearful of. Okay. I've had some of my clients, what I've had them do is every day they have to send me an email or a text message about something they love about themselves, because we have to change ourselves. We can't change other people. We can change ourselves. And so every day you write down, or you make a commitment or accountability with somebody and say, I'm going to send you a text every day of something that I love about myself. And I tell you, it changes people's lives. I've seen it happen over and over again. And the same with what you're talking about. Another thing you can do is what if something bad you think is going to happen, what if the right outcome is, and you write that down. What if I'm going to have a great interview with all you guys today? That's going to happen. What if I wake up this morning and I'm bounced out of bed instead of dragging myself out of bed? What's going to happen? I'm going to jump up. I'm going to jump out of bed. I'm going to be happy. So what ifs, and what is something that you love about yourself will change your lives. And the same as what you're talking about. It's finding something in somebody else. If we're having difficulty with somebody, what is it that we love about people?
I wake up in the morning and I say this very small thing to myself. I say this 3 times. As soon as I open my eyes, and my eyes are like plastered shut at 5 a.m. because I had to get my girlfriend out the door, I'm like, today's going to be an amazing day. And then as soon as I kind of get, the rust, scraped out of my eyeballs, I'm like, today is going to be an amazing day. And then as soon as my feet hit the ground, I say, today is going to be an amazing day. And you know what, Connie? It really does bring about a total different mindset. And that goes back into our whole premise of the conversation about being prepared and preparing yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually for what you're going to encounter on a daily basis. I know there's a lot of questions and thoughts in the comments here. I know Gene and Matt are itching in their pants to get in, but I'm going to just add one more thing and then I'll shut up. Being prepared. Actually, this is not a comment. This is a question. What does being prepared look like daily and emotionally and, business wise and, physically? Is it a mindset? Is it something, a routine you put into place? How does that look for someone who wants to get prepared? Because when this is being recorded, we're in the middle of a pandemic, round 2. Thank you very much. And there's food shortages that are going to be coming. There's a lot of stuff that's going to be coming down. How do you mentally prepare yourself, physically prepare yourself, and get ready for that?
Well, I think first of all, we have to have a routine in the morning. And I tell people this doesn't have to be a long routine, a 10-minute routine that you can do while you're brushing your teeth the first thing is you stop, you take 3 deep breaths, and then you think about the things that you're grateful for and the successes you had the day before. That prepares you mentally. And then we do need to have some kind of physical activity. So if it's just a walk, or, if you're big into running, or you're big into going to the gym, when you're at that gym or when you are out there walking, either listen to a meditation or just listen to your breathing. Just let yourself breathe. And that will make all the difference in the world when how you approach your day. So I think those are the 2 key things. First, you need to prepare yourself mentally. That's the most important. And when something comes up, like somebody gets you off track, maybe somebody gets angry with you, or you get angry with somebody, you have to go back to that. You have to go back and say, okay, I'm so happy and grateful that my day is going this way. I always use the words, I'm so happy and grateful, because I have to tell you, I am the most blessed woman on the planet. And I think I'm that way because I am forever grateful for whatever is delivered to me. There is no such thing as failure. It's strictly a course correction. And I'm so grateful for those course corrections. I mean, when I look back at my life and all the different things that I did and thinking that, okay, that was that, and now this is this, and now I'm doing this. And I did not know until I was in the middle of this, that every single thing I did was to prepare me for helping 30 million people be better prepared. It was to prepare me for this position that I have now. And I get goosebumps when I think about how grateful I am for the life that I've had. And believe you me, there were many downs, as there was more downs probably than there were ups. But I wouldn't be here. Like I always say, my husband passed away 10 years ago. The greatest gift he ever gave me was in his passing. And we had just celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary. We had a beautiful marriage. But his greatest gift he ever gave me was in his passing, because I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today if that hadn't happened. When I was in my 20s, I had somebody take me for $250,000. I was a naive farm girl and didn't have many business smarts at that point. I actually wrote him a thank you letter about 3 years later because I had moved forward into something. So I think knowing those kinds of things really helps you to move through the day and through the years.
You know, I went through a really horrible breakup a number of years ago, about 6 years ago. And I always tell this story because it's just a pivotal part in my life. And that's right when Matt and I started our podcast. And at that point, I don't think I've ever told this story on air, but I nearly committed suicide. I mean, I was at that point in life, right? And life was horrible in my opinion. But now I look back like you, when you lost your husband, and I'm so sorry for that, Connie. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now. I wouldn't be able to serve and help tens of thousands of people on a monthly, daily basis, and give back to the people who've given something to me. So I agree with you 100%. You have to go through bullshit, forgive my language, to get to where you're going to be in the future. And it sucks, but it's also beautiful at the same point.
I call those times, Greg, crystalline moments. Crystalline means sparkly or clear. So they're moments of clarity, and we have them throughout our life. And let me tell you, there's always a gift or an opportunity. No matter how devastating it is, there is a gift or opportunity, and it's our job to find that gift or opportunity, because that's how the universe is helping us to move forward. And so that's why I talk about my husband. I mean, I thank him every day, because I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if he hadn't passed. I was a workaholic. I was driven. I was nuts. And I didn't realize what was going on. I tried to go back to my old life, and I was called up my partners, and I called up the clients, and it was like an out-of-body experience. The conversation was over here, and I was over here watching. I couldn't connect. So I tried to go back, and the universe wouldn't let me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's interesting. Yeah, it's very Connie. Just a pure selfish curiosity. I hear a lot of psycho-cybernetics in what you're saying. Was that book a big influence on you?
It was very big. It was a very big influence, and I think I also. So when I went and got my life mastery consultant with Mary Morrissey, her Life Mastery Institute, I was able to take that and combine it with her lessons. And it's really made an impact. And I truly do live my life by design now. I mean, I've learned how to do that. And I think if we can learn that little trick, like there is no such thing as failure. I used to do Airbnb at my house, and I had a internationally known rock climber that came to stay with me. He was one of the two that made the route up the Don Wall in Yosemite. It was all over the news.
Really?
Route. Yeah, he lived with me for a month, 2 years in a row. And
that was one of the dudes?
Yes.
Oh my God. I watched that documentary, and I was astonished by how powerful that was. So that's amazing.
Oh, he taught me that rock climbing is like the philosophy of life. You look down to see the route, you look up to see the route, and then you get up there and you're trying to create the route. Well, sometimes it's not going to work. You're gonna fall, you're gonna swing, and when you do that, what you do is you're looking for that new route. It's a course correction. That's all it is. And he was a very powerful influence when he was here, and he was just finishing up the route. It was the last 2 years. They spent 7 years creating that route, and it was the last 2 years. It was Kevin Jorgensen was the one that was with me, and his girlfriend. They stayed here for both months, 2 years in a row while they were building that. It was phenomenal. Wow. So I think I have a combination of where I get my life's lessons, I think.
I learn everything
ever
from
heard of
Greg, so I'm good.
See, exactly. Matt just follows my life plan, and then this is why he's such a good-looking, handsome, intelligent, and successful human being. But I mean, the Navy SEALs have a thing called the 3-foot rule, and they only can control what's within 3 feet of them. Is that something that Kevin may have taught you as well? Because I mean, I'm 6'5", so I got a 6'5" wingspan on my arms. I'm stretching my arms out. Everybody who's just listening to me, Matt, stop grinning like a weirdo. But I mean, he's not. Shut up. But I mean, the thing is that when you can control what's in your parameters, and you have a plan to do it, and you set up for it, is in your experience, is there a way for someone to fail if they do these steps, and what steps would they take to get that plan set up?
You have to go back to exactly what we were talking about earlier. Stop. Just stop. And think about, okay, so when you're thinking about, maybe it's a really hard decision you have to make, or maybe it's a breakup of a relationship of some kind. There is always, if you remember, there's always a gift or opportunity. It's a crystalline moment. There's always a gift or opportunity. And if you look at that and say, okay, what are the possibilities? What kind of gifts could be coming from this? Then that will help you to guide you into the direction that you want to go. And listening to your heart and not your ego is the way that you're going to move forward. So when you're stopping and you're breathing and you're observing what's going on inside, and you have a big decision to make, if you write down all of the choices that you have, and then you read those out loud, there's going to be one that's going to resonate with you. And you will know that that's the one. And it may not be the one you think you want to do, or that think is the right thing. But I used to argue with my inner voice. I mean, that's why it cost me like $250,000, because I knew I shouldn't be in partnership with this person, and I went in anyway. And I used to argue. Now, even if I don't like what I'm hearing from my inner voice, I write it down. I write it down and I look at it and I go, okay, why? Why is that the right way? And pretty soon, I'll be darned if it isn't right. And things just start flowing to you then. It's resources. Like after I started doing this work, I had people coming to me. I had events coming to me. I had ideas coming to me, all because I was on the right path. And that's where crystalline moments come in.
Yeah, Matt, you really should start, getting out of your ego and start listening to your heart and picking up my phone calls, because that would make me feel better, no matter what.
As you've already discussed, Greg, my heart does not exist. There's a tiny piece of coal where in my body cavity where my heart used to be. Right?
That is true.
That's a true story. Is medically backed as well. I mean, we've done heart
medically
surgery.
Impossible.
We can't find it. Yeah, Gene, you gonna jump in here because you're creepily quiet.
No, I'm learning. I don't. There's sometimes, like, we go through this a lot, right? When you guys are piloting the show, I just sometimes sit back because I like when a guest has moxie and a lot of information. It's easy to kind of fall away and learn. I'm taking notes with you, Greg. So I don't really have much. I mean, I think for me, I still would like to get to some of the nuts and bolts of like, what if I were to have you come out and present, what does that look like? What are we covering in the course? Or, I mean, what is it that you're offering? Like, I want to know from an agent's, let's just say I was going to set you up to do an event in front of 200 agents. What am I telling them that you're going to do for them? What does that look like?
Well, first of all, I'm going to tell you that they're going to be better prepared for themselves and their businesses, and their clients. But also, we need to know what kind of risk factors we have. So if your 200 agents are in different parts of the country or come from different parts of the country, each one would be preparing differently than what, if you're in LA versus San Francisco versus Florida versus whatever, the preparation is going to be different. But if you know that preparation, then you already take care of the mindset, right? So we look at each one of the natural as well as man-made disasters. We go through all the natural ones. Then we go through pandemic, which we don't really need to talk about anymore. We already know more than we want to know. But I talk about mass shootings. I talk about power outages. I talk about explosions, all those kinds of things, and what you can do to be prepared for each one of those. We also go into insurance, mortgages, and recovery services. And let me tell you, when I was writing the course, I started going through the man-made stuff. I thought, I'm sitting here quarantined, and I am going and writing about all these horrible things. If I don't get depressed, nothing will get depressed. But when I got to insurance, I have to tell you, we all need to wake up to what's happening with homeowners insurance, because there are people in the reinsurance business right now that say that it's potentially that homes will become uninsurable in the future if things don't change.
Ooh.
And the impact of the pandemic or any other disaster on mortgages is astronomical. So they'll be aware. I think the feedback that I get is that they understand now, first of all, the importance, what it's costing us as taxpayers. It's costing us almost $200 billion a year, whether we're talking natural disasters or man-made disasters, not to mention the number of lives that are lost every single year. And last year, during the pandemic, we had 6 disasters over the period of July and August that either had not happened ever before or had happened very rarely. One of which is that the Gulf of Maine had the dubious honor of having the most highest temperature rise of the body of water, of any body of water on the planet. We had fire-nados, or tornadoes that are made of fire. We had derecho winds, or sideways winds. We had 2 hurricanes in the Gulf at the same time. That hadn't happened since 1959. The storms are more intense. The ability for us to react to things. Look at the fires right now. Last year, the average before that last year was 2 million acres a year being burnt. Last year it was 400 million. We're already surpassing that, and we're still in the beginning phases of the fire season. So what you learn is how to take this knowledge and make a difference in your community and make a difference in your lives. And all of those kinds of things that will truly help you, help your business, help your community to really do some major differences. So
that just made me want to crawl under my blanket. But I want to ask you a question, and I know I'm going to regret this. I'm quite sure I'm going to regret it. And I'm hoping, Matt, that you'll be able to take us home and end with some good stuff, right? But
no, we're going to end on this.
I'm
running out to buy toilet paper.
Well, yeah, right. So Connie, I want to ask you, if I'm sitting in your seat, so obviously you've done the research. This is what you live and breathe every day. Whether it's directed at a real estate agent or just somebody as a person, is there anything that we should be preparing for over the next 12 months that you see as like 1 and maybe 1A? And I know I'm going to regret asking this question, but is there anything in your mind that we should really be looking at right now and saying, these are the 5 things I have to get ready?
The first thing is make sure you have at least 4 kits, emergency kits. That's number 1. The emergency kit, you have your regular emergency kit that might be 1 or 2 duffel bags that has everything in it. And by the way, you can go onto my website and you get a free download of what these kits are all about. It's called Make a Plan, Do a Plan. So the second kit is their grab kit, your go kit. Whatever you're going to need, you need to be rescued or you need to go right now and you don't have time to haul your duffel bags around, make sure you have your go kit. The third is a kit for your car. And the fourth is a kit. If you work outside of your home, you have to have a kit for your business. And then if you have children or you have elderly or you have people on disability, they all need to have their kits. So that's number 1, having kits, having plans for your family, plans for your communications, plans for evacuation, plans for your business, having those plans in place. That way you are prepared for just about anything that can happen as far as a disaster goes. When it comes to crisis, when you're looking at your business or you're looking at your family, what kind of crisis could there be? Is there a death in the family? Is there an illness? What is there? And what can you do to mitigate or to protect or to prepare for those? So each individual is a little bit different as to what they're going to need and what they're going to do. But really, the first and main things is having your emergency kits. 15 to 35% of people, when they were surveyed, said that they had some kind of a preparedness kit. I can assure you that 35%, they maybe had 10% of them maybe had a real kit. 15% said they're financially prepared. That's another thing. One thing that people don't think about for their kits is cash. When the electricity is out, how are you going to pay for things? So cash in small bills and not $10 or $20. How much is a lodging in your area if you have to go stay somewhere else? So those are all things that you should look at. You should look at your insurance policy and make sure that your policy is covering what you think it's covering, number one, both for your home and your car, as well as your business. Make sure that those things they're protecting you the way that you need to be protected. And if not, change insurance. Find out what you need to have. There's lots of information that can tell you exactly what you should have in a policy. So that's number one. Then looking at your mortgage. Look at your mortgage. If you could not make your mortgage payment like many Americans are going through right now, what are you going to do? Do you have a Fannie Mae, a Freddie Mac? Do you have FHA? What kind of VA? What kind of loan do you have? And what kind of services are available through those organizations to help you know what you need to do to mitigate as well as prepare? By the way, insurance, your homeowner's insurance, many times will help you with code improvements. They have coverage for that. They will give you incentives for mitigating around your property or putting in fire resistant or wind resistant materials. So all of those, that's how you prepare right now. That's how you get started.
Wow.
Is there? I'm hoping one of you is going to ask for the good news.
Well, the good news is, so in the spirit of being prepared, I don't remember how I came across this, but I was looking for a podcast about spycraft. Okay. And I came across I kid you not, a podcast about spycraft, just the mechanics of espionage. Right. And I came across this podcast that must have been done by a guy that used to be in the intelligence community because he was doing a podcast episode about go bags. It was really interesting. So Connie, he kind of broke down the different reasons that and purposes for having go bags and what needs to go in them. It was actually a very interesting episode. And I realized that, man, I don't have anything like that. I kind of have a work version of it. Like I have a work version where I basically just pick up my backpack and bam, my entire business kind of goes with me. But I don't have a personal version of that, and I don't have it like kind of set. So yeah, it's given me some ideas and a good reminder of things that I need to go do and re-prepare. But yeah, there's all kinds of there's a way to kind of make it fun. Greg, think you may need to have a go bag for relationships.
There's one other thing I'd like to mention because many of these people that are wild in this are, they're going to be in their own business. You need to have a crisis center. You need to have 2 locations for that crisis center. And you need to have alternative emails. You need to have ways to keep your business going, but make sure you have 2 separate locations where they've got all the same equipment, they've got all the same information, and that you have all your documents backed up on the cloud as well as on a little disk thing. So if you have a business, think about that, because if your business is destroyed for whatever reason, or maybe there's a mass shooting and it's cordoned off, God forbid, but that has happened. So having a separate location that is equipped exactly the way you need it. Maybe it's a neighbor's house or a house of a family member that's not right next to you, but far enough away that they probably will not be damaged by whatever's going on. So if you have a business, 2 different crisis centers.
Good idea.
Well, Matt,
I vote for Gene's house. I feel like there's going to be beer there.
Oh, there will be beer and wine and alcohol.
Right. Yeah. So Connie, briefly, let's talk about the new book. I want to make sure that we get a chance to talk about that.
Thank you. It's called When the Unthinkable Happens. Be prepared, be ready. And it really is, it's for the consumer and for small businesses to know what they need to do to be prepared and to really break it down. I think it's coming out in September. And I plan on, I've already got 5 other best-selling books. And my goal is to make sure it's a #1 best-selling book in at least 2 or 3 categories. So I'm super excited about that. It'll be released. I'm hoping it's going to be released right around the 2nd or 3rd week of September. We don't have an exact launch date yet, but stay tuned. And I would also like to say, if you go to my website, ckmsolutionsgroup.com, you can download Make a Plan, Do a Plan, and it has all the breakdowns for all the emergency kits, all the plans. It has the stop formula in there, and you can download all of those, as well as phone numbers that you might need.
Love it. That is absolutely amazing. Some of the stuff that I've been writing down over here is just amazing stuff. One thing I took away from you, not to mention the go bags and getting prepared, getting your book, not on top of all the other 5 books that you've written, is that, mentally be in a different place and just be, like you said, I am so happy and grateful. And allowing yourself to be in that different place, no matter what kind of shitstorm you're going to be going into, no matter physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, business-wise, whatever else. And I love the idea of just taking control of your environment, being aware of what's around you. Go down. If you want to get I carry this big ass knife everywhere I go. And it's just being a prepared thing. 1, I can, protect myself. 2, I can punch a window out if I get in an accident right here on the end. Number 3, I can cut a seatbelt. And number 4, the most important part, I can open a beer on the tip of the knife. But I mean, it's a silly example, but it is something of just being, being prepared in a silly, fun little way. But what you're saying is so profound and so real, especially in the way that our world is going right now. Our political climate is in turmoil. Our climate is in turmoil. I mean, our food supply is in turmoil. Australia and California and America truckers are talking about stopping all trucks from delivering all products to everybody. That's going to be a big friggin' problem. So I think what people really need to understand is that life is not going to be normal for a long time. And so go back, understand this, and get prepared for whatever is coming down the path, whatever version that means for you. Would that be accurate? I mean, we all have different versions of prepared.
Yeah, it does. And as a suggestion for everybody that's in the real estate business right now, what a wonderful gift for a housewarming gift if you give some things that go into a go bag. We're doing something called Kits for Kids. And the goal is to put a kit in the hands of every single child. And because the parents probably are not prepared, if the kids have a go bag for themselves, just think you might just influence the parents to be prepared as well. And so I've got a big initiative I'm working on right now to try. And so if anybody wants to help me with this, I would love to hear from you, because if we want to do it nationwide and we want to start out with the schools. So, but if we prepare the kids, then the parents it might be a good example for them. But yeah, I think there's a lot of things realtors can do to help their community and help the community be prepared, like gift baskets or housewarming gifts, or let's join forces and let's put the kits in the hands of children so that they have it, because many children don't have even the resources they could possibly put something together. Mm-hmm. So that's really important, I think.
Yeah, love it.
So,
all right.
Okay, I'm rethinking the whole thing. I'm rethinking. I got my go bag next to me. I got a 45 caliber in it, and I was just going to take whatever the hell I wanted if I had to go somewhere in a crisis, right?
Your plan is to raid other people's go bags and preparation plans. Right. somebody out there has that survival strategy. It's called the Viking strategy. Yeah. So just remember, you're not the only one with that.
Gene has his 45. I have my 40 caliber SIG, handgun sitting next to my bed, ready to rock and roll at any second. So yeah,
I just have my pepper spray. So when I spray that, I take both of your guns and then I win. Okay.
I don't have a 45, just for the record. I don't.
All right, Gene, how do people reach out and connect with you?
I'm going to do something different today, and I think I'm going to start doing this a little forward. We have a private group on Facebook called the Community Connect with the Digital Architect and Captain Link Juice. Do a search on it. Yeah, I know. It's better than you think it is. Trust me. Okay. Check it out. Community Connect. Link Juice. Yeah, Link Juice. He's listening to this show, by the way. Check that thing out. It's a private group. We're going to actually launch it publicly. But if you want to join there's some really good stuff that goes on behind the scenes. So Community Connect on Facebook with the Digital Architect and Captain Link Juice. Do it.
All right.
Love it.
Connie, connect with you.
Oh, How to reach out to me. Okay, you can find me on Facebook. Connie is Coni. So check me out. I've got Connie Myers. I've got a private group called Crystalline Moment Success Movement. My website is ckmsolutionsgroup.com. Please come and join and find out how you might want to become a CKM advisor. And I'll be having more information about my book as it gets a little closer to the launch. So I look forward to talking to you, all of you. And if you want to help me with my Kits for Kids, please reach out.
Love it.
Love it.
You
Matt,
should do that. Yes.
you published a publication here, a small pamphlet called the
Small pamphlet.
Micro Famous. How does someone get a hold of a copy of that and reach out to you?
It's getmicrofamous.com and get a free digital copy of the book. It's all about how to become famously influential to the right people. And if you're in the coaching, consulting, thought leadership space, if you want to do what we do and you want to podcast to attract clients and become a thought leader in your space, that's really the playbook for it. We also launch and produce podcasts for that type of person. So you can get more information on that all in one place, getmicrofamous.com.
I love it. Actually, all the joking aside, it's a phenomenal book, guys. Get the book. Very, very, very well done. Matt, I really appreciate you asking me because I was waiting for you to ask me, but how do you get a hold of me? So generous of you.
He actually did ask you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did. You just didn't hear it.
Gene, you're fired from the show. That's it. You're done. That's it. You're canceled. Goodbyes. Guys, we're hiring for our EXP team. We got some incredible and crazy stuff coming up. Go ahead and reach out to me. DM me on Instagram or Facebook. We're going to go from a small pack to a large pack here, and it's just going to be a lot of fun. So reach out to me at 925, 915, 1978. That's the numbers that haunts Matt's brain in the middle of the night. And if you guys want to know what Matt's recent tattoo is, there it is. All kinds of great tattoos he's been getting, especially his California tattoo. He's very proud of that one because of his move over here. So we're very grateful for him. Gene and Matt, I need your professional help here. We need 2 colors for the bow on the show, please. Matt, what would be your color?
Black, like the coal of my heart.
I'd like to keep it in that realm as well. Let's go with a very charcoal gray.
So really, all right. We're tying a ribbon around this episode, tying it up like a package, and it's black and charcoal gray ribbon. Okay, great.
I
wrap
love
it up
it.
tight. It's a gift to the audience.
It is amazing show. Connie, thank you for being a legend. Guys, all jokes aside, she is an incredible human being. She is so smart. I've been blessed to interview her a couple of times. I got introduced her by Bernice Ross. And they are good buddies. And go research her, find her, follow her, read her books, get involved in her life. And when you guys go watch the show, please go out and give a little hello and hashtag for her. Connie, thank you. You're a legend. Matt,
Thank you so much.
You are a black-hearted, little wonderful human being. Gene, you're incredibly bald, and I love you to pieces. So we're going to do charcoal gray. We're going to do a black part bow on this show. Guys, go out and give us a 5-star, not a 2-star review on every single place that you guys watch and listen to podcasts. We want everybody else to get some of this content into their brain so they can learn a little bit, not from us, but from our guests like Connie, who actually bring value to our show. Thank you, Gene and Matt, not for bringing value, and myself. But we love you to pieces. Until next time, peace out, ninjas. We gone.